Why? Because what most people think about the market is usually wrong. How even correct market predictions can be pretty useless. What powerful role does psychology play in market ups and downs? Why can sometimes a not-so-smart money move make an investor look like a genius? Welcome to the extracts of The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks. Uncommon Sense for the Thoughtful Investor. This book, The Most Important Thing, is like your guide to decoding the market, helping you make smart money moves and avoid common mistakes that trip up many investors. Instead of a boring step-by-step manual, this book shares thought-provoking ideas about investing. It might challenge some common beliefs and stir up a bit of controversy, but that's what makes it interesting. So, if you're curious about how the market works and want to make wise financial decisions, dive into The Most Important Thing. It's like a crash course in understanding and mastering the world of investing. Get ready to unlock the secrets to successful investing.
Before we began, we release fresh content every week. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and enable notifications for the latest summaries. Our videos might be a tad longer, but that's because we're dedicated to delivering full book insights. So be sure to watch till the end. Let's dive in.
Extract 1. To be a successful investor, you've got to think differently from the crowd. Here's the deal. Investing is like putting your money into things, hoping they become worth more over time. But here's the catch. Finding opportunities where you can make a profit is not that easy. Most of the time, many people are looking at and judging these things you want to invest in. They're all trying to figure out what it's really worth. When everyone agrees on the value, it's tough to make extra money because the price is pretty much right. But sometimes, things get mispriced. Like in the year 2000, Yahoo's shares were super expensive at $237 each, but a few months later, they dropped to just $11. That's a massive change, and it happened because the price was wrong at least once. Finding these mispriced opportunities is hard, though. So, if you want to be a top-notch investor, you need to use what's called second-level thinking. First-level thinking is like saying, "This company is good, let's buy the stock." Second-level thinking is more advanced. It says, "Yeah, it's a good company, but everyone already knows that, so the stock is probably too popular and expensive. Let's sell it." In a nutshell, to beat the investing game, you've got to think one step ahead, considering what everyone else is thinking. That's the key to making your investments stand out and bring in those higher-than-average returns. Extract 2. The most important thing to know about investing is how value and price relate to each other. All right, imagine you're into making some smart money moves, like buying and selling stuff to make a profit. Here's a key idea that's like the golden rule of investing. Buy low, sell high. Sounds easy, right? But figuring out what's low and what's high can be tricky. To help with this, there's a super important thing called intrinsic value. Think of it as the true worth of something. For us, it's like the starting point for successful investing. You estimate intrinsic value by looking at a company's basics, like whether it's making money and can pay its debts. Now, the real magic happens when you compare this intrinsic value to the current price of the thing you want to buy. If the price is lower than what it's really worth, that's a green light to grab it. But here's the catch. Lots of folks forget about this and just focus on what they want to buy. That's like saying, "I'll buy this no matter the cost," which isn't so clever. It's like buying a friend's car without checking the price first. To be a money-savvy buyer, you also need to look at two other things: psychology and technicals. Technicals are about market craziness, like when everyone sells in a panic. And psychology? Well, that's about how feelings like greed or fear can mess with prices. So remember, the key is to know the real value of what you're buying, check if the price is fair, and watch out for the crazy market stuff and emotions that can sway prices. That's the secret sauce to being a successful moneymaker. Extract 3. Investing is like looking into the future, but because we can't be sure about what will happen, there's always a thing called risk. Imagine you want to buy a house in California. You can't be certain if there are hidden problems that might cause it to collapse during an earthquake. The real problem is that you might only notice the risk when something bad actually happens. The same goes for investing. Even when things seem good, like when prices are high, there's still a risk. This is because people tend to be too optimistic, thinking prices will stay high forever. But that's not true. As long as prices can go down, there's always a risk. It's tricky because when everything is going well, it's hard to imagine things going wrong. This is when risk is at its sneakiest. It's like buying a California house without knowing if it can survive an earthquake. So, before making an investment, it's crucial to think about the risks involved. We're naturally afraid of risks, so it's important to ask ourselves if the investment is worth it. Remember, the money you make or lose doesn't tell you how risky the investment was. You have to think about risk on its own without considering other things like the investment's value. This way, you can make smart investment choices. Extract 4. When you jump in at the bottom of a market cycle, you have the best chance of making money. In the world of investments, there are two important rules to keep in mind, especially for someone your age. Rule number 1 is that most things in the investment world go in cycles. Unlike machines that move in a straight line, people, including investors, are emotional and can be inconsistent. This emotional aspect creates patterns in the markets, like the ups and downs in the availability of credit. Consider the credit cycle. In good times, when everything seems fine, banks are very lenient with giving out loans. They may even give loans to people who might not really be able to pay them back. But when losses happen, banks become more cautious. They restrict loans, and some businesses may struggle or go bankrupt. Now, rule number 2 is crucial. Some of the best opportunities to make money, or lose it, happen when people forget about rule number 1, the cyclical nature of markets. If you ignore the fact that markets go up and down in cycles, and you just follow trends, it can be risky. This kind of thinking often leads to bubbles, where people buy stocks thinking they can always sell them at a higher price. But when the market crashes, those who didn't follow the rules might have to sell their investments at any price to avoid big losses. And for smart investors, this is the perfect time to find great opportunities by buying from those who have to sell, even if it's at a low price. Extract 5. If you're looking to make successful investments, here's a cool tip. Go against the crowd. Most people follow the trends, but the really successful investors do the opposite. Imagine this. Markets go from being too expensive to being a great deal all the time. When lots of people want to buy something, the price goes up. Even if the thing's actual value hasn't changed, its cost shoots up because everyone wants it. Now, here's the trick. The best time to buy is when everyone else is selling, and the best time to sell is when everyone else is buying. This might sound a bit weird, but it works because the crowd often makes mistakes. They get all hyped up and either overprice or underprice things. Think of it this way. The crowd's so-called wisdom can actually create crazy ups and downs in the market. So, if you want to find a good deal, look for things that others find controversial or scary. These are like hidden treasures because people might think they're worse than they really are. It's like finding a super cool game that no one else knows about. Its demand will only go up. In a nutshell, the best opportunities often come from going where others wouldn't dare. It might feel a bit weird at first, but that's where the real treasure lies. Extract 6. Since market predictions aren't very useful, investors should know a lot about present economic situation. In investing, people often try to predict the future of the market, but it turns out that these predictions aren't very reliable. Even though sometimes they're right, they don't consistently give us useful information. Think of it like trying to guess tomorrow's weather. Sometimes it's accurate, but often it's not. The problem with these forecasts is that they usually just repeat what recently happened. Most of the time, the future looks a lot like the past. But sometimes, unexpected things happen, and that's when we can either make or lose a lot of money. Unfortunately, these forecasts are not great at predicting these real changes. For example, back in 2008, when there was a global economic crisis, very few people saw it coming. Even a year later, when things started to get better, the predictions weren't accurate. So, instead of relying on these uncertain forecasts, it's smarter for investors to understand what's happening in the market right now. We can't predict the future, but we can get a sense of the present by looking at how investors feel and what the media is saying about the market. This helps us make better decisions about our investments. Extract 7. If you want to make money with investments, stay away from analytical and psychological sources of error. When you're trying to be successful with investments, it's not just about looking at numbers and facts. A big part of it is understanding how your own feelings can affect your decisions. For instance, imagine you and a friend both look at the same information about investing, but you might end up making different choices. That's because feelings like greed, fear, ego, and envy can impact what we decide to do. Greed is a strong desire for more, even if it means taking big risks. Fear, on the other hand, can make us panic and stop us from making smart decisions when we need to. Apart from these emotions, there are also simple mistakes we can make when analyzing information. It could be because we don't have enough details, use the wrong methods, or accidentally leave out something important. The key is to be careful and avoid falling into the trap of making decisions based on emotions like greed or fear. Yes, investing involves risks, but being cautious and avoiding big mistakes can be more important than trying to get huge returns. It's like trying to protect your money rather than aiming for extraordinary success, which can sometimes lead to big losses. So, being smart and careful is the real secret to success in investing. Extract 8. In investing, sometimes people take big risks and win big. But winning isn't always about skill. Luck and courage also play a huge role. Imagine buying a stock because you expect something to happen, but it doesn't. Still, the stock does well. That's luck, not necessarily skill. Luck is a big deal in investing. Success often depends on being in the right place at the right time, or even in the right place for the wrong reasons. Random events, things happening unexpectedly, can make a big difference. So, it's smart to have an investment plan that considers these random events, whether they're lucky or unlucky. This means finding a strategy that works in different situations. There are two main strategies: offensive and defensive. Offensive is about taking big risks for big gains, while defensive focuses on avoiding losses rather than chasing profits. It's hard for most people to switch between these strategies at the right time, so a mix of both can be the best approach for different situations. Remember, investing is not just about skill, it's about being ready for whatever comes your way. Final summary. Thanks for joining us in this insightful journey through The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks. As we wrap up, remember that successful investing goes beyond numbers. It involves understanding the technical and psychological forces driving market cycles. Dealing with risk is a key part of the investment process, and recognizing common pitfalls is crucial for success. Here's some actionable advice to take away. Before making any investment decision, take a moment to take the market's temperature. Ask yourself key questions about the current market sentiment. Are investors optimistic or pessimistic? What is the media suggesting, buying or avoiding stocks? These questions provide valuable insights into the market's potential future direction. If things are currently up, there's a chance they might come down, and vice versa. This understanding can guide you in making informed decisions about your investments.
Got feedback? We love to hear from you about our content. Just share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about the latest extracts. Thank you, and have a great day.